Have you ever had the feeling that your life doesn't quite belong to you? That the choices you've made, the path you're walking, the dreams you're chasing were planted, not born? That strange emptiness that creeps in during the quietest moments. That's not just existential dread. That's your soul whispering, "This isn't your life." But whose is it then? Let me tell you something that might rattle your very foundation. From the moment you were born, perhaps even before that, your life was scripted. Your beliefs, your fears, your ambitions, they were carefully installed like software. Your parents began the programming. Society refined it. Education, media, culture, they've all contributed to the architecture of a life that was never meant to be yours. And the most terrifying part, you've accepted it. You've worn it like a second skin. You think it's you, but it's not. It's a mask made of memories, trauma, repetition, and control. Think about this. When was the last time you made a decision that wasn't influenced by someone else's expectations? Why did you go to that university? Why did you chase that career? Why do you hold the beliefs you hold about relationships, love, money, and death? You didn't choose them. They were installed. You were assigned a life based on your birth date, your family, your gender, your class, your location. You were born into a grid, a simulation, and the moment you began absorbing language, you were being coded. The you that you think you are is a composite of programs, most of which are completely unconscious. You were never asked who you wanted to be. No one gave you a clean slate. They gave you a box and taught you how to decorate it. Be polite, go to school, get a job, start a family, pay taxes. Don't ask questions, don't make noise, follow the script and everything will be okay. But your soul, it remembers something else, something older, deeper, freer. That feeling of suffocation when you're in a crowded place. That weird sadness after achieving a goal. That numbness you feel when someone praises your success. Those are not signs of depression. They are signs of disconnection. Because the you who is succeeding isn't really you. It's a character in someone else's game. Ancient teachings, hidden from public view, speak of the shadow life. A false path you walk when you're not awakened. A version of yourself created entirely by external forces. It looks successful on the outside, but inside it feels hollow. Like something's missing, like you're missing. The soul is patient, but it doesn't sleep forever. At a certain point, maybe now, it begins to stir. It whispers questions you were trained to ignore. What if none of this is mine? What if I've been sleepwalking through someone else's dream? What if I agreed to this before I knew who I truly was? And those whispers become a roar. This video is your wake-up call, because the system counts on your silence. It counts on your comfort. It counts on your fear of asking too many questions. But once you start seeing the strings, the labels, the rewards, the punishments, you can begin cutting them. This is your first step toward remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And once you remember, the game changes. Let's go deeper. If you're not living your true life, whose life are you living? The system would love for you to believe it's just how things are. But that's a lie. This world is designed. It's engineered. And so is the version of you that walks through it every day. Let's call it what it is. You were programmed, not by accident, not for your benefit, but to serve something or someone else. There are layers to the deception. The first is cultural. You were taught what to value: success, approval, money, status. But none of these things nourish the soul. They only fatten the ego, which is easier to control. The second, psychological. Your fears, your doubts, your guilt. These aren't just personal quirks. Many of them were installed by design. Religion told you what was sinful. School taught you to obey. Television numbed your intuition. And social media finished the job by convincing you that your worth is measured by how much attention you get. And the third layer is energetic. You're not just a body. You're a field of frequency. And the frequencies around you are manipulated to keep your field low. Fear, shame, comparison, scarcity. These aren't just emotions. They are technologies used to disconnect you from your essence. Why? Because a disconnected soul is easy to manage. A person who doubts themselves will always seek external approval. And someone who doesn't know their power will never rise to claim it. This is the truth they don't want you to hear. You are powerful, terrifyingly powerful, but only when you're aligned with your true identity, not the false one they gave you. And that's why you were trained to forget. From a young age, you were discouraged from dreaming too big. You were mocked for being sensitive, punished for questioning authority, praised for compliance. Your soul's flame was dimmed for your own good. But here's the paradox. The more you suppress your truth, the more life hurts. That pain you feel? It's not failure. It's your soul rebelling against the false life. The migraines, the anxiety, the restlessness, the deep fatigue, these aren't random symptoms. They're signals. Your body is screaming what your spirit already knows. This isn't who I am. Look at your life now. How many decisions were made from fear instead of passion? How many times have you said yes when your intuition begged you to say no? How many years have you spent chasing someone else's version of success? Now ask yourself the question that changes everything. What would I be if I hadn't been programmed? The truth is, you already are that being. You've just been buried under years of noise, lies, and survival patterns, but it's not too late. Your soul didn't give up. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. And that's why this message found you. You are not broken. You are not lost. You're just remembering. And the system can't handle what happens next when you begin to wake up. So now you know. You've been living under a spell, a carefully crafted illusion that made you believe this life, this name, this job, this body was all you are. But your soul has been whispering, sometimes screaming, there's more. And now it's time to listen. Because awareness is the first step, but not the last. If you've made it this far, it means your soul is ready. Ready to cut the cords. Ready to remember the blueprint you came with. Ready to finally live the life that's yours. So how do you do that? How do you break free from someone else's script and write your own? You begin by slowing down, because the false life thrives in speed, distraction, and noise. It keeps you busy, too busy to think, to feel, to question. So the first rebellion is stillness. Sit with yourself, not the version of you that performs for the world, the real one, the child you buried, the voice you silence. Ask that part of you, what have I forgotten? What have I abandoned? What is calling me back home? And then you listen. The soul doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in longing, that deep pull you feel towards something unexplainable. That's not a fantasy. That's your truth trying to resurface. Follow it, even if it makes no sense to others, even if it means letting go of the life you built. because that life was built on someone else's blueprint. Now it's time to build your own, and that means letting some things die. Let the false identity go. Let the need for approval go. Let the titles go. Let the stories you repeated to keep yourself safe go. You are not here to play a character. You're here to become a force. And when you step into that force, the world will react. They will call you crazy. They'll say you're selfish. They'll remind you of who you used to be. But you will not listen because you are no longer living for them. You're no longer surviving someone else's dream. You are remembering, and in that remembrance, you become dangerous to the system because a soul on fire cannot be controlled. A mind awakened cannot be programmed. A heart aligned with truth cannot be manipulated. This is what they fear most. So let them fear. Because every step you take back to your real self, every breath you take outside the script, you become a signal, a frequency, a permission slip for others to remember too. You won't need to preach. Your energy will do the work. Your freedom will be louder than their rules. Your joy will be louder than their shame. Your sovereignty will be louder than their lies. And when enough of us remember, the false world begins to crack. This is your moment, not to become something new, but to become what you were before the world forgot you. You're not here to impress. You're here to awaken. So ask yourself, right now, whose life have I been living? And who would I be if I remembered my own? The answer isn't in this video. It's already inside you, waiting.